These enemies shoot me once, nourish procs, Jade Stars explodes, and they all take 100k damage just instantaneously and are dead. If enemies shoot you, you are dead. So your goal is to hide around corners. But you can do that with Soundquake. All that good jazz, really good for Jade Stars. Quick disclaimer, the builds in this video are preliminary builds. I wanted to show them off because I think the ideas behind them are really important, and putting stuff like that into the world is really fun and interesting, and realistically a lot of these are just such cool themes and ideas for what they do. But if you want to adjust them, feel free. Obviously these are, I just threw Jade Stars on them, put like a build that I just threw 10 mods in and then just called it a day. And really this is just to showcase the actual ability Jade Stars as a subsume, but there are builds here if you want to build off of them. So feel free. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe and comment. It helps the algorithm a lot, and I really appreciate it. That, and I will be going live 2 hours after this video, as usual, both on Twitch and YouTube. There are currently Twitch drops. So if you want these 3 glyphs right here, I'll post them. They'll should be on the screen right now. One of them is fucking awesome, by the way. Be sure to tune in. Any Warframe streamer has them right now, so just you could watch anybody, but watch me instead, bitch. Hi everybody, I just finished a 5-hour stream, all to test specifically Jade Stars. So I have a lot to talk about with this fucking subsume, because wow, this thing is so much better than people think it is. It's not going to take you to level cap. It's not going to. It just doesn't do that unless you do specific setups, but we're not going to talk about those setups because I think they're going to get removed. Anyways, we're going to talk about a couple of builds here. So this first one, I'm just going to show them first, and then I'll show their full builds in like right afterwards. I swear to God, this ability works on like every frame in the game, but we're just going to go into this steel path, the highest circulus. It's just going to do stuff. This was also working in ETA when I tested it. It's plenty enough damage to do most things in the game. It will even do a couple of 100 levels past steel path, which is cool. It's great. It's surprisingly powerful. Essentially what it is Jade Stars is actually triggering off of every single bit of damage that you do right now. There's a couple of things that don't trigger it. I think specifically like summons are not triggering it, but if you turn on Jade Stars and then put down like Oberon's carpet, for example, it does this, which is great. It's in fact incredibly strong for a general AoE build. It's not going to outkill any of bigger nuke frames, but it's still genuinely really good. Now this build is a little bit stronger than some of the others due to being able to apply radiation, which means we have radiation shards, which means we get 60% additional raw damage through just having the essentially the multiplier to our heat damage on Jade Stars. So you end up with a pretty good, decent enough AoE nuke that can kill a lot of things without really thinking about it. And it's really interesting, and especially if you put a little bit more effort into it, and snapshot some strength. That was really lucky to get ability strength there. You really do nuke these enemies incredibly fast. And if you just bring Nados Spectre, for example, these builds really do go a lot farther than they realistically should in some cases. You can see all the numbers. Now, one thing that I do want to note is that Jade Stars has a range. It's not listed, but for example, I'm not shooting any Jade Stars right now. Oh, that guy. But there's enemies over there getting hit. But if I walk out of range of them, it doesn't trigger. I believe it has to do with affinity range. There's a certain range that it doesn't want to trigger on. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it, but there is a range on Jade Stars. And it has no line of sight, so it will shoot through any wall that you could possibly see. But this is like a very simple 100 kpm, like you just put down the carpet and it just kills stuff. Again, it is reverse heat inheriting, so if you ever use a heat ability or something along those lines, like it will fall off, and you will want to bring a gun for anything single target, because yeah, the Xmas enemies do take a bit to die. It is not as bad as people are thinking it is. There's a couple more interactions we'll talk about in a second. This one is just really cool because it triggers automatically. And here's the Oberon build. Our energy is all in the Universal Fallout. It's as much strength as we can fit in without realistically running out of stuff. I think you could probably drop equilibrium. The idea was that we tested all this stuff today, but not perfected it. So feel free to adjust stuff. Archon Vitality is really nice because it just doubles your Jade Stars procs. But yeah, if you're running Universal Fallout, you're probably dropping equilibrium with running extra strength. You don't need that much duration. Duration's nice, specifically for Hallowed Eruption, but again, you get 200% from this. That doesn't particularly matter. You're just using it to do tick damage through Hallowed Ground anyway. Try to snapshot as much strength into your Jade Stars as possible. That is the defining factor for how much damage and how quickly you clear. Moving on. Okay, this is my favorite one, simply because of how well it works. It also does a couple really interesting things, so we'll talk about that really quick. Jade Stars triggers Doom. Doom triggers off of any damage that you deal, so realistically, that's not anything crazy. However, Jade Stars also triggers a second time off of the Doom activation. So what that means is Doom has to be applied, and it gets applied immediately based off of when you have the Spectral Augment, the 3 Augment. And if you have Doom on an enemy and then it wears off, the hit from Doom will also trigger Jade Stars again. So you're actually triggering Jade Stars twice for every Doom application, because you have to apply it first, and then you have to hit them again. And this is just a straight up nuke build by just spamming 1, and it will kill everything you kind of walk by. But really cool interactions with this one, in my opinion. Just, it's so many hits going on. You're applying viral, so you're getting the damage bonus. You're able to run really high strength because you're Dagath, and you just have infinite energy on her 3. You don't need tons of range because you're kind of just using her 1 and the Doom applications to apply Null Stars, but it is genuinely, this is my favorite caster version of Dagath, and I fucking love Dagath, so I'm gonna play way more Dagath because of this. Now, obviously, again, like I said, it doesn't do that much damage, and on single target stuff, you do want to be shooting them with a gun, but you have a gun all the time, so it's fine, whatever. But for the general case, you will just be doing quite a bit of damage, frankly. It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. And it's a very fun gun and run build, because you just spam her 1 and then run around, and it's really easy to play is probably the best way to say it. That, and because you can just spam stuff to get back into her 3, she's very tanky. A really good build, honestly. I just like it. But Jade Stars allows it to trigger multiple times, and it applies extra heat procs. It's just cool based off of what it does to Doom, mostly. But yeah, just triggers multiple times. It triggers on all of her abilities. They all do at least 1 hit of damage. It's a very fun, quick little build. And this is the Titty Haunts build. It is a very high range, high strength, high duration, low efficiency. You've got hot shot, so you actually do get a gun benefit off of this. So if you do want to use a gun, feel free. This will give you the 350% crit chance on all of your weapons, your primary, secondary, and melees. You're going to get augmented for extra strength, refreshment for shield gating outside of her 3, and then you just try to get into her 3 as much as possible, or as quickly as possible. You can definitely drop range. I don't think the range is that important, especially because of how close word scythes are to you when you cast them. All right, Grendel. This one is a subsume over his 4. So you actually stop doing regurgitate entirely, which is weird. I know. I'm triggering my Jade Stars on the enemies inside my stomach. Well, I also will trigger them to any enemy that hits me because of Nourish. I will trigger them to any enemy I run into because of that damage. And it just, because you're armor stripping and applying viral, you're just killing the enemies you run into when they get applied at the heat stack. It's surprisingly good. Now, the only downside, you have to leave Pulverize to reapply Jade Stars, so that's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's very interesting. You could always do subsumes over the other abilities. You could do a subsume over his 3, over Pulverize, and then just use Gastro and apply it that way. But you can notice just me getting shot, all of these enemies just fell over. If I walk over here, they all died. They just shot me once. That guy just died. He saw me and fell over. That was doing 150k damage. These enemies shoot me once, Nourish procs, Jade Stars explodes, and they all take 100k damage just instantaneously and are dead. It is the best Reflect build I've ever seen in my goddamn life. And all you do is you get to play Grendel and be a big ball. It's awesome. It surprisingly kills very fast. For what it is, like for literally not actually using abilities or anything to kill enemies and just running around and letting enemies shoot you, it kills so fast, so fast. Or if you put together like a good enough persistence Grendel build, you can heal 300 per second in his ball. Yeah, you can see these triggers of Nourish actually just killing everything. It's so cool to watch. Now, I know we've snapshot strength into these, so this is the double strength version, but yeah, just the more strength, the better. I think you can probably drop range in what I've got, and it would still do plenty of damage. The range is nice because it does increase the explosion radius of Jade Stars, but a very, very good speedrun build, or just build you can play around with just for fun. I don't know. These are all really interesting to me, so I just hope you enjoy them. And this is the Grendel build. Super high strength, range, duration. This was a different build originally. I believe it was Yareli's Aqua Blades over his 4, and it was decent enough to do kind of the same thing, but not quite the same. So you can very easily do, if you really just want, you can swap out Augmented entirely, or Bellicose, whichever one you feel like, and just throw in Persistence. With as much strength as we have here, we're getting 632 HP per second, so then you literally do not need Catashield's Brief Respite. You could drop that for strength, or a little bit more health, or whatever you're feeling like. If you want to pick up Bellicose and max it out, you can do all of that. I think that's plenty. You have tons of strength, tons of health, tons of survivability, and all you do is just run around. I think it's super fun. Just make sure your stomach is full if you're doing Persistence. The only problem is you're going to be triggering Jade Stars onto the enemies inside your stomach, so they are going to be dying faster. But the only thing you have to worry about is upkeeping your abilities, so just upkeep your abilities. That's the whole point of the build, right? I like this one. So the first build, and the reason why I started working on Jade Stars, was because of Banshee. So I'm about to show you the best way to get Soundquake to work in 2026 for some godforsaken reason. When I say a Soundquake build works in 2026, I mean it's not really Soundquake. I think it's just Jade Stars. It is a really interesting thing to look at, because we can see kind of just how strong this ability genuinely is in comparison to like some of the older stuff. Okay, well, that guy ripped my gun out of my hands. Oh, I haven't even started, man. This build is a little tight. You will probably not actually like this build for Steel Path specifically, but that's the gist of it. You turn on your Jade Stars, you sonar a couple times, and then you turn on your silence, and then you find a corner to hide in, because you're gonna literally die if any enemy shoots you, because you're completely vulnerable when you're doing this. Entirely vulnerable. You literally will die. If enemies shoot you, you are dead. So your goal is to hide around corners. But you can do that with Soundquake. I bet you didn't have that on your bingo sheet for 2026. This is an incredibly good non-Steel Path defense Fisher build as well. Surprise, that's exactly what Soundquake always has been and always was. But seeing it just function, here we have double strength. Look at that. Here we go. Yup. And now I can actually sit here for a little while and yap, because it will kill everything until I'm out of energy. But it's really interesting as a build to finally see a Banshee build in 2026 that actually functions in a way that's working better than expected. I saw this build, I tried it, somebody else was testing some stuff, they said it didn't really work that well, and I was inclined to believe them, but I really wanted to test it for myself. I still don't like Banshee's Soundquake. I don't think it's a good ability, so let's slow it right back down. Slow it right back down. But having the ability to actually get kills with it in Steel Path using not even her kit is really funny. You know what? I'm taking it. I'm taking it. That, and I will mention really quick here, bring a Nados Spectre or a Noko Spectre or Protea Spectre, one of the three. The extra energy sustain off of Protea and Noko are going to be fantastic, and the extra strength from a Nados Spectre is going to be just phenomenal for your Jade Stars damage. I had a friend playing Nados with a Bright Bonnet Subsume, and by God, that makes this build really funny. So here is the build. You have kind of low duration, but we use concentration to get that extra 60% up, so you usually have to recast Jade Stars twice. Really high range. We don't actually slot in overextended here because the strength is too important. That and Soundquake already has a 38 meter radius, and we don't typically technically need more. You can if you want, but there is that issue where if enemies are too far away from you, Jade Stars doesn't trigger. So I haven't tested if it doesn't at a certain range, but you can try it. I think it was triggering on the max range with the double strength and double range buff in that mission there. So definitely try it if you're planning on it. Equilibrium for our energy sustain. We only have 265 energy, but we're also running fleeting expertise so that we've got the efficiency to actually cast the ability. And then, yeah, like I said, very little survivability because we're just hiding around corners. It's the only thing that keeps us alive. Okay, first is a Rhino build. This one's really goofy. It's not great. I'm gonna leave that again, but have you ever wanted to kill with Rhino Stomp? Because I didn't think I did either, but apparently you can. I have not tried Rhino Stomp in some time before today. Because you have unnerfed Roar, Rhino Stomp does a lot of damage. If you put Roar on and then apply Jade Stars and then Stomp, the actual heat ticking dots that get put out by Jade Stars are actually incredibly large for no reason. Oh boy. Oh boy. You guys really want to see some numbers? 281% Roar doing this. You can see them essentially evaporate. Now, you do run out of energy really fast with this build, so FYI, you will need some energy sustain stuff, or to at least run around quite a bit after every stomp, or at least bring a good enough gun to sustain yourself. But genuinely, the amount of damage you're doing here looks so cool. That was a 700k heat dot. Killing with Rhino Stomp is also not in my 2026 bingo sheet. Bungo sheet. That's me. Look at the mini map. Oh, they got corrupted. That sucks. Yeah, so you can see my energy sustain is a little bit bad. I would probably rework this build a little bit, but again, like I said, the reason why I'm posting this video and making this video even is to just show the ideas and how they work and that kind of stuff. So I hope you get stuff out of this that you find interesting. But yeah, literally just using Stomp. Anything that like goes through walls, ignores line of sight, all that good jazz. Really good for Jade Stars. Yeah. Yeah, that's a cool one. All right, and this is that build. It is as high range as possible to get extra range on Rhino Stomp. Now, we do have a 70-meter radius, so you can absolutely drop some range if you want to get just a little bit more strength or maybe some efficiency, that kind of stuff. I am running Equilibrium, Flow, and Energize, so realistically, you probably will just drop Overextended, for example, because you probably don't need that much range, and then just running some better energy economy or maybe some more strength, or it is up to you. I haven't, again, like I said, I haven't really put these builds together, but these are good baselines to see what they're capable of doing. And the last one, this is Zephyr. The really cool thing about this is that Zephyr already does this, but with a gun. If you don't have a gun or don't want to use a gun, this build exists. And you do kind of have to cast a decent amount. You can also subsume it over her too, but you know how everybody tells you to just hold cast your tornadoes? Oh, well, don't do that in this build. Because you want your tornadoes to kind of roam around and hit enemies, and they're going to do this. Which you can group them onto your tornadoes and get them to die a little bit faster if you want. They genuinely do just slowly die over time. And again, not a ton of damage, but enough that it's funny. You definitely have some options when it comes to this. But you're also Zephyr at the same time, so you get to just fly around and all these just randomly dying over here. All the numbers. And I'm going to mention this here because I don't want to extend too hard into this, but there are so many combinations of this subsume, and I think people have underestimated that. If you put it on Jade, Ophanum Eyes also triggers this, which means you can literally mom stare at enemies to kill them. It's fantastic. It triggers off of any amount of damage that you deal. It's genuinely just so cool. And you're still doing Zephyr things, so the Jade Stars will trigger off of the tornado damage, and then they do an area of effect, which then hits the tornadoes, which then the tornadoes do damage again, which then triggers Jade Stars again, which then does damage to the tornadoes, which triggers Jade Stars again off of the damage that the tornadoes do over and over and over and over and over. So every time you trigger it on the tornadoes once, they just never stop. They just don't stop. It doesn't stop. Now, obviously, you're going to be using other things here to like actually kill enemies at like a decent pace, but you're Zephyr, so you just get to do that because you're Zephyr. You're flying. So you just get to extra prime. Just make sure not to bring a heat weapon, otherwise you're reverse heat inheriting yourself very, very hard. But you can see even way over there, I'm doing damage through the walls where my tornadoes has spawned over there. And again, the higher strength you have for casting Jade Stars, the more damage that this will do and the faster it'll clear enemies. It just looks far more impressive when you have higher strength. And this is the Zephyr build. The higher strength you have, the better you're off. So I think you could probably drop some efficiency here, run Blind Rage. You also don't necessarily need Funnel Clouds because realistically, I don't think that Jade Stars is going to actually keep up with however many tornadoes you have out with Funnel Clouds. So you can actually drop this and just run the 3 and they'll kill whatever's in their tornadoes and then they'll roam around and kill more stuff. And it's probably better overall. I hadn't really tried these builds more than just once, and that's it. I mean, there are tons of other interactions. There's tons of other interactions with this ability, from Nezha Spears dealing damage on cast, which triggers the Jade Stars instantaneously. It triggers all 10, so you get 20 stacks of heat with Archon Vitality, and if you have more strength, it's more. The Citrine Gem, which you can just turn on Jade Stars, throw at your gem, and then throw her 1, and it will apply tons of heat and tons of statuses, and then feedback loop on itself to kill whatever enemies you trigger it on. You can throw out Volt's 4 and use his 4 nuke as a way to apply heat stacks to whatever enemies that are applied into your 4. It scales the 4 nuke farther into Steel Path than most other subsumes. You've got Wisp electric motes, which don't necessarily need help to nuke it to higher levels, but do trigger it for some reason. So you can also get that to happen by just running around and it'll trigger all of these. You can also get Palervo to trigger it with his 2, so his defensive ability, and then all you do is you just run around Collective Curse things, and then when you trigger your 2 on them and Collective Curse does damage, it triggers Jade Stars, which then causes Collective Curse to do damage, which then triggers Jade Stars back and forth until that enemy group is dead. And like, there's so many really cool interactions with this subsume. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Bye bye.